Welcome to episode 3 of Let's Talk Airguns. In this episode I'm going to be talking to another YouTuber that set up around about the same time as me. He's a very good lad. You've probably all heard of him before. It's Connell and it's from Air Hunter UK. Okay, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for having me, buddy. Pleasure to be here.
So just as we're walking up to the woods end to have a quick stroll around and embarrass ourselves with these springers we've brought with us today. Tell me a bit about how you got into airgun shooting.
So I started off actually with a little bit of archery. So looking for hobbies, as we've spoke before, I did used to box for 20 years and as you get a little bit older the body says no and it doesn't quite do what you want it to do, so I started looking for other hobbies. I've always been an outdoor person, always loved being in woods and messing around in woods, so I just started with a bit of archery, picked up a recurve bow and then went on to a compound bow, and then I always wanted to hunt, and obviously you can't legally hunt in this country with bows, so I started looking at what I could do next, and then that's how I fell into air guns. And then I picked up the infamous TX200, which everybody will be familiar with. Probably the best starting gun, if you like, for a PCP.
Yeah.
And then I just fell into that, really. I couldn't believe how well the shot and what distances you could shoot with a
You've still got that used on your channel quite a lot,
yeah. It's just one of those guns that you don't really ever want to get rid of. It just does everything, doesn't it? And
they're like a tank, aren't they, really?
Yeah, exactly. And I just love being in the woods, just sat in a hide. I didn't really care too much if I got many kills and much quarry or anything. It was just a case of I like being out there in the woods with Mother Nature, if you like, and just sat there with my gun chilling out, and it was just a really nice thing, and that's kind of how I fell into airgun shooting, really.
It's pretty much similar to me then, really, in a sense. Like I said, my dad's a farmer, so I got into it as well, and it kind of snowballed from there, I suppose, in a sense.
And then you realise you need deep pockets because you always want the next thing.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, because obviously we set up the channels at roughly the same time, and roughly got the same subscribers and everything. We're both doing quite well from it regarding that, and we both enjoy it. Tell me what made you want to get into YouTube and obviously make your own channel and things.
I kind of fell into it almost by accident, and so I started the shooting. And then I didn't really know anything. Nobody taught me anything to do with air guns, anything like that. So nobody taught me anything. And it was just a case of, I started looking on YouTube and subscribing to people like yourself and picking stuff up that way. And then I thought, well, I'll just put stuff on YouTube. And then if I can gain any advice through that, and just put my shots on and see if people liked it. And it just kind of, and then people did seem to like it. And it just kind of fell through that, really. And taking advice. And I did put in my bio initially, like, join me in on my channel with airgun shooting, and basically like follow me through my journey of learning all the different aspects of it, which I believe even now, like 4 years later, I'm still learning stuff.
You never stop, I don't forget. It's one of them sports you never stop learning, is it really?
No, there's always something new. There's always an older boy who can tell you something, years of experience and whatnot. So I'd obviously listen to them and push on through that and just learn really through the YouTube. So that's kind of how I fell into that. And then obviously, if you're doing YouTube, you kind of feel a bit compelled, like, some mornings you don't want to go because it's silly o'clock, but then you go, right, well, I'm making a video now, so now I've got to get my backside up at 5:30 in the morning and get out there and sit free and wait for something. But it just pushes you a little bit, doesn't it? Pushes you to do those late nights and everything. So that's kind of how I fell into YouTube.
Right, so what we'll do is we'll have a few shots on the course, go around, test your shooting skills as well as mine, because like I said, I've not shot a Springer for a while. Do you want to tell them what you've got?
So I've got the TX200 in 2.2, and this is the one that was actually given to me from a guy on YouTube. Well, given me to use anyway, for as long as I want, which was from Alan Cummins, I believe. So again, I know I said thank you, but Alan Cummins, thank you very much for sending me this beautiful rifle. It's just a pleasure to shoot at all times. And you've got the HW97K, haven't you?
Yeah, so
edition.
I've actually reviewed this on the channel before, and I've had it for quite a while now, but hardly ever use it. So it was Kev's idea to shoot Springers today.
Well, I did put a post out, and somebody said that they like the top springers, so these two generally come top.
Yeah.
So before it'd be nice to just pit them against each other, sort of thing, and get them both out. And the old boys love a springer, don't they?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go on to lane 3 and see if we can hit the beaver. Before I embarrass myself shooting the beaver, what would you say your go-to setup is for hunting?
Oh, well, probably the PCP. Right now I own a calibre gun cricket in 177, and I have to be honest, it's probably the most accurate PCP I've ever shot. Personally, I'm sure people have plenty of arguments to that, but for me personally, it's the most accurate 177 I've ever owned. At 50 yards, it is literally pellet on pellet, when you've got a nice day and no wind, of course. So yeah, I'd use that, and that's what I'll go out with. I know it's going to hit the mark every time, which is what you want. You want a nice clean dispatch. So that's
next question quickly then. 177 or 22?
177.
the biggest question I always ask. 177 or 22? I'm a 177 man.
Yeah, I am. I mean, this is 22, but I did put a post out not long since, and most people did go 177. For me personally, just really quickly, I simply like the 177 because of the flatter trajectory, and you can reach out. Yeah, it's more forgiving. You can reach out to further distances. Obviously, 22's got its place, but if I want something that's going to do everything, I go 177.
Have you ever shot 20 cal before?
No.
So I've got a couple of 20 cals, and I use them for different things as well.
Yeah.
And it is quite a good crossover. So you've got like a little bit more stopping power.
Yeah.
And obviously it is a bit flatter than the 22. But
right. Yeah, I've never shot 20 cal, so now I should.
Worth them.
Yeah, I'll definitely test that out.
Right, let me embarrass myself for this. So. Oh, maybe not.
Nice.
Maybe not.
Right, okay, my turn.
Oh,
got it.
We're stuck. Wait a minute. There we go.
Oh.
What scope have you got on your HW 100?
I think I've still got a Hawk scope.
Have you?
I'm sure I've still got a Hawk scope on that, yeah.
So my go-to scope for hunting, I use I'll let you take a shot. Oh, hit it at least.
Right in the middle.
So my go-to scope on quite a few of my hunting rifles, I've got the Nikko Panamax. A lot of people obviously say, you need a good bit of glass on your rifle for hunting. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But the Panamaxes are roughly the ones I've got about 145 quid. I think it might be cheaper now.
Right.
But I just find that I don't mind if it gets scratched. You know yourself, you're climbing through fences, you're doing all sorts of things. If it gets scratched and whatever, and I just find it to be a good all-round scope. Yeah. So, do you find that with different scopes, or just?
I think you can't go wrong with a Hawk scope, a Hawk Sidewinder. But again, it's one of those things you want a fancy scope.
Yeah.
But then when you use it in the field, you don't want to get it marked up and scratched up. So you've got to find that happy medium. But it's not be all end all to spend stupid amounts of money on scopes. I think you can do. I mean, this is we've got a Taurus, a Vector Taurus, I believe it is. So I think they're about 300 quid. It's a 40-16, and that just feels absolutely quality premium.
Yeah.
And I don't think you really need to spend. If you're going out shooting and hunting, you don't need to spend stupid amounts of money for pest controlling. I think it's unnecessary. I mean, you can take a 99S, shove an £120 scope on it, and still go out and achieve the same goal as anybody with a PCP and an expensive scope on top of a digital scope. So, as long as it's old zero and you can see through it, that's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't have to be stupid amounts of gadgets. And I like the simplicity of going back to a Springer and just a scope. I like that. Yeah, definitely.
It's basically, it is really how majority of airgun people started shooting.
Yeah.
With Springers. I mean, my first come was a Springer.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you just progress onto PCPs.
Like you say, you get to that stage where you think, you want what everybody else has got, like a big kid, and you buy stuff, then you go, I wish I'd have bought that with that money. So you end up selling stuff to buy the next thing, and you end up. It's a hobby, isn't it? It's a hobby that we all love, and you end up thinking, I've got to save up for this and save up for that. And we all want the little gadgets and bits of fun, but when we strip it all back to bare basics, you can go with a 22 or 177 Springer, stick a cheap glass scope on it for 120 quid, and still go out and achieve the same result. If you're not interested in YouTube stuff and filming for YouTube, you don't need all the fancy equipment. Not at all, no.
So the next question is, do you have any favourite pellet brands, or what's your go-to pellet for hunting, target shooting? whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
rather than plinking.
probably like most, JSB Exact is my favourite. Then there's AirArms Diablo and QIS Streamline. So it's usually them that I go to, them three there. I don't generally have any problems. Like whichever rifle I pick up, I don't think between the three of them I found one that works.
Yeah, I think they're the main three go-to pellets, aren't they?
Yeah.
When I do the reviews for the Honest Airgun reviews, I normally try to use a JSB, QAS, and a Barra 8 because they're like the three go-to pellets that it's going to like one of them, isn't it? Or thereabouts.
Yeah, and it gets expensive buying like multiple name tin names and brand names, try to find the one that works.
Of course, they're not cheap anymore.
No. So within them three, I usually find one that works well.
We'll try a squirrel now up in a tree. It's quite an hard shot, this actually. I've tried it myself a few times.
All right.
The next question I've got then, so what is the most memorable hunting session you've had?
Probably the one we've just talked about off camera. And it's not memorable. Yeah, it's not actually memorable for the sake of hunting.
Do you want to tell everyone about that?
Yeah, sure. So sometimes we go out and we film and we get honest permissions, and you'll see films with bloopers. And I wished we had blooper reels for some of the hunting videos because it all looks good on camera, like always, and whatnot. And I was resting on a shed, and I was reaching with my gun to rest outside of a farm shed to get a pigeon out of a tree, and I'd not seen down properly anyway, so I'm looking up like that, and there's like a ditch to the left there. I was about to take my shot, and I just took one step too far, and I've ended up down in a ditch, and I had the HW100 at the time. Now, obviously, they're not cheap, but they're not super expensive either. I didn't want to damage it, so I'm holding on for dear life, and as I said to you, I thought, I'm not damaging this gun. Whatever happens to me, I'll just go down the ditch. And as I went down, I just brushed my face through a load of nettles because I couldn't put my hands up. So I'm like that, brushed my face through a load of nettles, and then by the time I sat up out of it, my nose was just absolutely pouring in snot. My eyes were stinging, nose was stinging. I just couldn't do nothing for the rest of the session. Just bumps all over my face. And there's just times like that I wish somebody were there to film it, because I'm the sort of person who likes a good laugh and would certainly put that on YouTube and let everybody have a good laugh at it, definitely, yeah. So that's probably, I'm a pig farm, so that's probably most memorable for that reason.
Yeah.
And then I suppose in terms of like shooting, when I've reached like I did a 63-yard shot on a rabbit on a golf course, and that's probably one of the most memorable. And obviously I'd had the ballistic calculator and the rangefinder on it and everything, so it was working beautifully. I don't recommend you go out and start shooting 63-yard shots though, on a regular basis. You've got to be confident and know exactly what you're doing in that sense. But so they're probably the most memorable. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about so obviously camouflage is a big thing when you're out hunting.
Yeah.
And I use I've got the Ridgeline dirt camo. I swapped over quite a few years back to using that from Real Tree stuff. What kind of what do you preferably like to use?
I have one of the real leaf gilets, and I find
you wear that?
Yeah, I wear that, and I've had squirrels come over the top of my head, not notice me, So either I hide a pop-up hide, which I use quite often, or I'll just wear the gilet, real leaf camo gilets, one of them, and that tends to do it for me. It doesn't have to be anything specific.
Yeah, it does really blend in well, doesn't it?
I just try to lay in a bunch of leaves, just try and blend. Yeah, but the squirrels just tend to climb over my head and come into place.
Right, talking about squirrels, let's see if I can hit this.
It's an upshot. Nice.
I'm doing quite well. I'm chucking myself actually.
I were tempted to bring a feather and just give you a little tickle in the ear. Okay. Pressure's on.
Pressure's on, Kev.
Where are we? Find it first. Well, I got an headshot, but it didn't go over. Okay.
Right, let's go and try and do another one a bit further round. Right, so we're going to try and find another shot a bit further down. So you've not actually seen the full course yet, so I'll go through the full course and have a go at some different ones. Next question then is, what do you prefer hunting the most? I mean, I like a good mix of everything. It's obviously rabbit stalking, or I find that just as good as if I'm sat in a hide shooting squirrels.
So everybody loves a mixed bag, I think. Yeah. But me personally, I like shooting crows and magpies.
There's a good one, a toucan. Let's have a go at the toucan.
I think simply because with an air rifle, you'll know yourselves, guys. Obviously, if you hunt, shooting crows, like if you get within the like 40, 50 yard mark, they're off. You have to be that bit clever, a little bit sneakier with crows. Same with magpies. They don't hang around very easily, and I find them more of a challenge, getting crows. And like I say, you've got to get within distance, so you've either got to sit there forever and wait for one to come in, or you've just got to be a really good shot at like 50 yards. So me personally, birds, but crows and magpies are my favourite to shoot.
What's air hunters' top tip for shooting crows?
Don't scratch your nose. I honestly think crows are the smartest birds, and they're not given enough credit for how smart they are. I've been sat there at times and thinking that they've not seen me, and I've literally just gone from there to there and they've gone, and they have seen me. I just think the patience, anything to do with hunting is just patience. Pick your right shot. But if you're hunting crows, you need to be in position before they come in and land in. So if I'm going to a farm, for instance, I want to be in there in the dark and hid way before they start coming in.
Do you ever set any decoys out or anything like that?
I have done, yeah. I've actually got a crow that's really realistic, and it actually crows when you turn it on. There's a battery inside it, and they go ballistic. And they're quite territorial, crows and magpies. And if they see something in their area sort of thing, they will come in and investigate. So I just think, just patience with crows. Try get within a fairly decent distance, and just be patient and make sure you can place your shot well. It's just they are probably the most difficult things for me personally to hunt anyway. So
I find that.
I find a sense of greater achievement getting crows more because they're hard. It's more satisfying because you've had to work harder to get that kill. So
So I think, like you said about the crows and birds and stuff, it's weird how you can walk up to a pigeon in a park, pigeon, and you can get between me and you, and they're not bothered. You get a gun out, they're gone within 50 yards of you. And
it's weird. I'd seen it. It's probably not too relevant to this, but I'd seen something on David Attenborough with crows and how clever they are. And basically, they were sat on like a pedestrian crossing in China on a line above, and they were dropping the nuts on the floor and letting the cars crush them. But they knew to wait for people to press the button, so they'd have a few second gap to go down and pick up the nuts, so they wouldn't get run over and stuff. It's just really clever stuff. So outwitting them, it can be difficult at times. So it does give you that greater sense of satisfaction. They're just clever crows. Definitely better to hunt them, for me personally, anyway.
When you're rabbit shooting them, do you take the more like sniping approach where you lay down and shoot, or will you actually do that prefer stalking, or what's your favourite thing?
I've got to be honest, I prefer laying down in a sniper position because I'm a better shot laid down than I'm steady. It's just an easier way to make the shot lay down. So you want to be confident when you're shooting, so that's where I'm most confident.
Of course, I mean, I my last video I did when I went out pigeon shooting, I got a bit, I think I fed up, but I thought there's a load of rabbits on the other side. I thought, sod this and we'll have a quick stalk. I got around and got one, but it is very mind-blowing and exhausting when you actually are stalking something, and even if whatever you're walking over and treading carefully so nothing hears you, and make sure the wind's blowing in your face and all the rest of it, getting it right. So if you don't, you can't get within that kill zone, that 30-40 yards to be able to make a clean shot to get it, can you?
You've got to take everything into account, definitely.
Oh, there we go.
I need a pellet. So you've asked me, Ray, what's your favourite quarry?
So, like you said, I do like a mixed bag through different seasons, because we're just coming out of probably squirrels and rats, with being winter. We're moving into spring now, so you get your wood pigeons and rabbits start to come out a lot more. Squirrels tend to tail off because of the natural food and stuff that comes in. But I'd like to say rabbits, because I do enjoy stalking. I do find it a challenge, and getting, like I said, within them certain, yardage, be able to make the shot, and then I've had it where you've been stalking a rabbit in a hedgerow and you aim on one and you try to get close to it, and then one will pop out 10 yards in front of you, and you think you think, shit, what do I do?
So if there was only one thing left to shoot, that's what you'd shoot, rabbits. You could only ever shoot one animal again.
They do taste nice as well, mate.
I'm going to say, and plus you can eat them, so so that's a bonus.
I've seen you doing pure squirrels before on your channel.
Oh God, that was awful. Just quickly, I tried a squirrel for the first time on one of my videos quite a while ago now, and tried glazing one little piece of it with honey just to try and make it taste. I put some honey. I think it was honey. I put on one piece of meat, and then on the other, and it was rotten. It was absolutely just chewy as well. I mean, to be fair, it went straight from like from the kill straight onto the barbecue. But a lot of people say like soft boil them and stuff like that, and then do it that way. But I don't know. It's a skill in itself, and just stripping them.
I know that was pretty hard.
Yeah, we're tricky skinning them, and I've got a dodgy hand anyway, so we're just tricky skinning them, and then I just thought I'll taste it and see what it's like. And then I started panicking. So, quick funny story: I started looking online about squirrels maybe passing on mad cow disease. So apparently they can. Right. I forget the proper name for it. There's a proper name for it, and if they're around cows, apparently they can carry it and pass it on. And then I was starting, as you do sillily on Google, and reading about like what happens to people if they contract it. Like you're dead within a year, you start losing your memory and stuff. I was starting getting paranoid. Like I was showing my missus the video. I'm like, have I cooked that right? You sure I cooked that right? And then I forgot worms and all the rest of it. So I thought I'm staying away from squirrel. I'll just shoot them in future. Anyway, let's see if we can make this shot. Well, I hit it, but I don't think I've knocked a single one over yet.
It's nice, it's a hard shot, mate. It's all hard shots, to be fair. I mean, I'm doing better than what I thought I'd be doing, to be honest. Let's go to another one. Try and find I think there's another decent one, actually, just around the corner around here. Right, so next question is, I always carry my rucksack around with me, got all different bits in it, just in case you don't know what kind of situation you're going to be in when you go out on your hunt. What do you think is the most underrated bit of kit that you've got, that you take out with you, that should be most appreciated?
Oh God, you put me on spot there with that question. You've got me now, Ray. You have got me. I
can swap questions if you want. Do you want to go to the next one?
No. Probably my hunting knife.
Yeah.
It's just always there. If I want to skin something and make that quick dispatch. I have a friend where I work who's from Ghana, and they have rabbit over there a lot. And I basically take him the rabbits and he eats them and makes some sort of a soup out of them that he takes in daily. Yeah, he makes a soup. I don't know the recipe, but he makes a soup. He's from Ghana. He absolutely loves it. So probably my hunting knife, it's always there. I don't always use it, but I just like to know it's there just in case. Yeah. So I always like to have my hunting knife. Obviously, you've got your basics, your gun, your pellets, and a laser rangefinder. But for me, probably the hunting knife. Yeah.
That's like I say, it's a really basic bit of kit that you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it for multiple different things. It's not just for skinning rabbits or quarries. Yeah, exactly. There's multiple different uses for a knife, so I think it's always handy to have.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Next question: what's your dream permission?
I'd have to say, and I don't have much of it. Probably a massive forest.
Yeah.
I'd love a forest. I'd absolutely love a forest. And probably that just goes back to me loving being in the woods all the time. I absolutely adored being in the woods as a kid and exploring and messing around in woods and climbing trees and all that kind of stuff. So just to be in the woods shooting is just in my element, basically. Yeah. I love that sort of thing. The field's one thing and countryside's another, but I just love woods. Yeah. So if somebody offered, anybody out there wants to offer me a forest,
don't donate a forest.
Yeah, if you want to donate a forest permission to me, I'll take it. Don't give it to nobody else, just me. make a child's dream come true.
Right, let's try. There's not one on this one. Let's go to. Oh, in fact, how do you fancy a 45 yarder with a Springer? Let's see if we can hit this.
Yep. Oh, is that the one up at
right down there? Yeah.
Number 16, is it?
So we're going to do a 45-yard dragon, I think now. So bear in mind these are both 2.2 air rifles, so it's quite hard. I find it quite hard today. Bear in mind we're both also like 177s more. Next question is, what do you think of the club, then? You enjoy like what I've shown you so far?
I've got to say, and it's not a sales pitch or anything like that. I saw this club on Ray's channel about 6 months ago. Is that fair to say? Around 6 months? Have you had it that long?
It's my second year actually, so it's about 18. Yeah,
maybe longer. Then it could be longer. I saw it and I just thought, you know what? That's absolutely amazing. We both started at the same time. And I was so pleased for Ray because obviously it's giving back as well and having just a dream permission. You just nailed that shot, haven't you?
No, I missed it.
Did you miss?
I hit it, but I didn't knock it over.
Well, you hit it though, didn't you? I'm still pressure on me. I love the club. It's got everything. I mean, obviously you'd have seen on his videos and stuff, and I'd even go as far as to say I'm quite jealous, to be honest. It's everything you want. Some woods, fields, shelter, all different types of shooting and targets and stuff. So it's a brilliant place. And if you've not been before, then you should definitely check out Camelots Air Gun Club. It's absolutely brilliant. Like I say, I'm a bit jealous. So when I first saw it, it was impressive, and well, obviously we spoke off camera about it and stuff, and it's something I'd like to do in the future and stuff where I live and whatnot. So getting ideas from Ray would be brilliant too, and how to go about it and stuff. But yeah, absolutely fantastic club. There's everything you need, and you can get a cup of tea and a burger as well. So that's a bonus just in itself.
I'll let you take your
I suppose
shot.
Try and make this shot now.
I think that obviously the more clubs for the sport is better, for the sport.
Yeah.
And like we spoke a bit earlier about trying to get younger people into sport. It's like I've tried so many different things, and we both. Do you want to tell people about what we discussed about saying that people associate guns with being bad, don't they? But in a controlled environment like we've got here.
Yeah, I feel like in this country guns get a bad rap, and I think that's kind of pushed down a little bit from America because of what goes on over there. And obviously there's been mishaps in this country and stuff, but there's people commit crimes in all sorts of horrific ways. I just think guns can be so much fun in a controlled environment, like you say, with the right tuition, with the right people. And it's just a fun sport to be in. And we are talking mostly air rifles here anyway, not rimfire, centrefire. Not that I've got anything against them, but in terms of what we're talking about here, I just think there can be so much fun. I've got a daughter, she's 13 now, and she shoots my 99S and the PCP, and she's just started getting into it, and she absolutely adores it, and she's completely safe with it too. She knows what to do with it, what not to do with it, but that's because I've made sure and instilled in her the safety aspect first and foremost. And I think once you get back, once that safety aspect becomes second nature to you, guns are so much fun then.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know.
Right, I'll see you next question.
Oh, I hit it.
You hit it.
I hit it. But I didn't knock it over or anything. So you missed, Ray?
No, I hit it. just. So, going back to that last question then, how do you think we could get more younger people interested in the sport to get, obviously, try and build on it and keep the sport going?
You've put me on the spot again. I think, listen, if you're a parent and you've got young kids, then, you can't force your children to do... you can't live your life through your children and stuff, but I just think if you can be as encouraging as possible, pass that down to your kids. Also, just shooting guns is not just a case of, we're just shooting targets and stuff. I believe it's a real life skill to be able to hunt, bushmeat, if you like, rabbits and stuff like that, and be able to skin and eat, in that situation. It's something that's long forgotten, I think. It was stuff that was handed down from father to son, father to daughter years ago.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And we've kind of lost touch with that with the digital world, if you like, today. And I just think, my daughter asked me last week, and I didn't expect that to come from her. But because she's got into the air gun, she's now moved on to, can you show me how to skin a rabbit?
Yeah.
And I didn't think she was going to ask me that. And I was actually smiling from ear to ear because I was like, yes, she's becoming a tomboy. She don't want nothing to do with boys. She just wants to be a little hunter like her dad.
Try this one. So, putting back to that, then me and you would be all right in a zombie apocalypse.
I think 7 seasons of Walking Dead and an air gun and skin a rabbit. I think we're qualified.
We're going to do a 45-yard dragon, I think, now. So, bearing in mind these are both 2-2 air rifles, so it's quite hard. I find it quite hard today. Bearing in mind we're both also like 177s more. Next question is, what do you think of the club, then? You enjoy what I've shown you so far?
I've got to say, and it's not a sales pitch or anything like that. I saw this club on Ray's channel about 6 months ago. Is that fair to say? Around 6 months? Have you had it that long?
It's my second year, actually. So it's about 18, yeah.
Maybe longer then. It could be longer. I saw it and I just thought, you know what? That's absolutely amazing. We both started at the same time. And I was so pleased for Ray because obviously it's giving back as well and having just a dream permission. You just nailed that shot, haven't you?
No, I missed it.
Did you miss?
I hit it, but I didn't knock it over.
Well, you hit it though, didn't you? I'm still pressure on me right now. I love the club. It's got everything. I mean, obviously, you'd have seen on his videos and stuff, and I'd even go as far as to say I'm quite jealous, to be honest. It's everything you want. Some woods, fields, shelter, all different types of shooting and targets and stuff. So it's a brilliant place. And if you've not been before, then you should definitely check out Camelots Air Gun Club. It's absolutely brilliant. Like I say, I'm a bit jealous. So when I first saw it, it was impressive, and well, obviously we spoke off camera about it and stuff, and it's something I'd like to do in the future and stuff where I live and whatnot. So getting ideas from Ray would be brilliant too, and how to go about it and stuff. But yeah, absolutely fantastic club. There's everything you need, and you can get a cup of tea and a burger as well. So that's a bonus just in itself.
I'll let you take your shot.
Try and make this shot now.
I think that obviously the more clubs for the sport is better, for obviously for the sport.
Yeah.
Like we spoke a bit earlier, didn't we, about trying to get younger people into sport. It's like, I've tried so many different things, and we both. Do I tell people about what we discussed about, saying that people associate guns with being bad, don't they? But in a controlled environment like we've got here.
Yeah, I feel like in this country guns get a bad rap, and I think that's kind of pushed down a little bit from America because of what goes on over there. And obviously there's been mishaps in this country and stuff, but there's people commit crimes in all sorts of horrific ways. I just think guns can be so much fun in a controlled environment, like you say, with the right tuition, with the right people. And it's just a fun sport to be in. And we are talking mostly air rifles here anyway, not rimfire, centerfire. Not that I've got anything against them, but in terms of what we're talking about here, I just think they can be so much fun. I've got a daughter, she's 13 now, and she shoots my 99S and the PCP, and she's just started getting into it, and she absolutely adores it, and she's completely safe with it too. She knows what to do with it, what not to do with it, but that's because I've made sure and instilled in her the safety aspect first and foremost. And I think once you get back, once that safety aspect becomes second nature to you, guns are so much fun then.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know.
Right, let's take a shot then. I'll see you next question.
Oh, I hit it.
You hit it.
I hit it. But I didn't knock it over or anything. So you missed, Ray?
No, I hit it. just. So, going back to that last question then, how do you think we could get more younger people interested in the sport to get, obviously, try and build on it and keep the sport going?
You've put me on the spot again. I think, listen, if you're a parent and you've got young kids, then, you can't force your children to do, you can't live your life through your children and stuff, but I just think if you can be as encouraging as possible, pass that down to your kids. Also, just shooting guns is not just a case of, we're just shooting targets and stuff. I believe it's a real life skill to be able to hunt bushmeat, if you like, rabbits and stuff like that, and be able to skin and eat, in that situation. It's something that's long forgotten, I think. It was stuff that was handed down from father to son, father to daughter years ago.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
We've kind of lost touch with that with the digital world, if you like, today. And I just think, my daughter asked me last week, and I didn't expect that to come from her, but because she's got into the air gun, she's now moved on to, can you show me how to skin a rabbit?
Yeah.
And I didn't think she was going to ask me that, and I was actually smiling from ear to ear because I was like, yes, she's becoming a tomboy. She don't want nothing to do with boys. She just wants to be a little hunter like her dad.
Try this one. So, putting back to that, then me and you would be all right in a zombie apocalypse.
I think, 7 seasons of Walking Dead and an air gun and skin a rabbit. I think we're qualified.
So the next question is then, to get into the sport, it doesn't have to be expensive, does it?
No.
I mean, I spoke to Warren about this, briefly mentioned it with Terry. You don't have to go and spend thousands and thousands of pounds on brand new. I can't load my gun here. Thousands of pounds on buying all the new kit and everything like that. You can go and gun trade and get a second-hand S400, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the perfect example is if you take most kids today want a PlayStation, so what's that? 350 quid. Well, you can go get an HW99S and a scope kitted out on it, some targets and some pellets for probably exactly the same price, and therefore you're already started at it for the same price.
Most gun shops will do a starter kit like that, won't
they?
Yeah,
they do.
I know more edges that sponsors us. They obviously, they do a starter kit, or they'll put one together for. If you go on your budget and say, I've got 400 quid. What can you do with me? They will put something together for you to try and help you out, won't they?
And I think if you are starting your kids off, this might sound a bit old-fashioned, even though I didn't actually start with a Springer. I think probably the best thing to do with kids is start with a Springer.
100%, I agree.
I think you'll appreciate a PCP a bit more because it's easy. It's easier to shoot a PCP. So mastering the Springer is far harder. I've always said I've got much respect for the guys who've shot Springers over the years. It's far harder than it is to shoot a PCP. But setting them off with a Springer and not spoiling them with that instant success.
Yeah.
And so I used to box for 20 years. So anything and you said you played rugby for years. So anything that takes a longer time to achieve is where the greatness comes in. Sort of thing, and the appreciation of it, because you've had to try harder to get there. So I think the Springer is definitely the way to go forward initially, and then move on to PCP. But they've both got the uses, haven't they? Yeah. And I always keep coming back to a Springer. Like, no matter how many PCPs I get, I still like to go out with a Springer and shoot it. because I know it's more of a challenge. It's the greater the reward.
Of course. So I'm actually hunting with a Springer for ages. And
Yeah.
I probably should do a couple of videos on that as
Yeah.
well, which I will try and post some, you know, when I get a bit more confident with it, shall I say. You're going back to obviously PCPs, it does give you a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Knowing that you, because when you are shooting a Springer, you are looking, you've got a half thing where you think, oh, I'm waiting for the recoil.
Yeah.
Whereas a PCP, you don't have any of that. You pull the trigger and it's gone. You're sending a shot home. And
it's instant success, but it's almost a false success.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Because it can be too easy, especially if you're just bench shooting as well.
Yeah. Oh, top left. So next question then is, I'll let you take a shot first.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, he's got it!
That's the first one I've got down.
So
it's only like 10 yards.
So it's only a 10-yard in a tree, it's not out far. I could have filmed
it. You don't want to listen to me.
That. Congratulations on hitting that, by the way.
Thank you.
A little bit more about obviously YouTube. We haven't really spoke about it. It's, you know, kind of changed my life from how, you know, my working life and all my and things that we go about and stuff and everything. And I really enjoy doing it, but I suppose everyone doesn't really see the back room work that what we have to put into it afterwards, and how many takes we've just done with bloopers a minute ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's your experience with it as well? Do you like?
There's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of time given up for making even a 10-15 minute video.
Yeah.
And you know, as much as I enjoy it, it's still time away from your family. There's a certain pressure to make the video good for the viewers. You know, they want to see good, clean kills, nice, good graphic content and stuff. It needs to be clear and stuff. And so when you sat there for hours and you try to focus before you take your shot, whereas most people would just take the shot, and you can be sat there for hours on end, 5, 6, 7 days just to make a 10-15 minute video. And so there's a lot of work goes in, I think people don't see and don't recognise. And like you say, it's time away from you. I'm forever saying to my partner, can you just watch me somewhere, I'll just go Bob and do this review and do that. Yeah. So it can become quite tedious at times, but it is ultimately rewarding. It just can be hard work. Yeah, there's a lot goes in.
I think that it's like, take yesterday's example, I got up at 5 o'clock when I went hunting, squirrel shooting, got a feeder that's been going down quite heavily at the minute. Got there, not one squirrel turned up. So I spent like 3 hours of my life, 4 hours of my life, and just sat there kind of thing, and you think, what am I doing this for? Yeah. But then it doesn't always go to your plan, does it? Not always, like you can't make things come and fit. You can't say to rabbits, stay there while I
yeah. And I think for me, I know some people like keep producing videos every week and stuff like that, but every time I want to do a video, I want to try and be enthusiastic about each individual time I make my video.
It is tiring, isn't it?
Yeah, and you just don't ever want to feel. I want to remain passionate, and I don't want to be feel like everything's scripted. Yeah. I just want to feel like when I've gone, I'm excited to go because I'm either using a new gun or I've got a new permission, or it's just something new that I've shot, and I want to remain passionate about it. And I think it's healthy to maintain that kind of attitude towards shooting and not just make it become like a job. Yeah. And just I've got to keep churning out pointless material. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's the best way to look at it, and just take your time, do your reviews, but do it with enthusiasm, because I think that comes across on YouTube and people can spot that. Yeah.
So anybody looking into getting to doing what me and you do, what advice would you give them starting off on YouTube?
In terms of YouTube, I'd say read your comments, don't listen to everyone. You do get some funny comments on there, some keyboard warriors and funny people on there. You just need to be almost ignorant to it a little bit with stuff like that. Don't take everything to heart. There's always somebody who knows better, and that's in every aspect of life, not just shooting. There's always somebody who knows better. Just if you're going into YouTube and you want to film, just please be yourself more than anything, as I am. Don't pretend, and just have lots and lots of patience, and don't try to keep up with anybody else. Just stay in your own lane, do your own thing, be happy. And if people like you for being yourself, and that'll come across, people will subscribe and come across to you. Definitely.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You've got to be yourself. Don't try and be someone or copy someone. You've got to have your own image and your own role. a little spin on things. I mean, like our videos, what we do and our content's very different.
Yeah.
And we've both got our own following. I presume there's quite a few people obviously do follow us.
I'm sure we have joint followers, subscribers and stuff. But you've always remained, like I've watched you from the beginning, so you've always remained the same, true to yourself, and I stay as true as I possibly can to myself. It's a bit hard sometimes when you're doing reviews for certain things, but I'm not a big fan of doing reviews, I will be honest, but I do them because I'd rather people see what I'm using rather than go spend their own hard-earned money on something that they're not sure on. Yeah, so I think it provides a good service in that sense. Like if I review something and I don't think it's right good, I will say so. Yeah. And at least then no one's going out spending money on something that someone's lied about on YouTube and said it's the bee's knees, and it absolutely isn't. So yeah, it provides a good service in that sense, does the reviews. Yeah.
Right, we've got a lollipop target here. I reckon that's about probably 25-30 yards, just through them V in the trees there. Can you see it?
Oh, I see it. Oh God, that is tight, isn't it? Yeah.
Let's see if we can get this right hitting a tree. Right, probably need to pull it up first, actually. Just below. No, it's below. I hit it, but it didn't go over. Just below. So I gave that 1 mil dot, so probably 1.5.
Oof.
Not that I need to tell you what to do, like.
All advice is welcomed. Not necessarily listened to, but welcomed. That is tight, by the way, guys. Oh, we did it! Aaron to UK strikes again.
Good shot, that mate. Very
Beat him on his own course.
Very good shot.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll have a no-go. Well done that last shot then.
Thank you.
So the last question then, before we wrap things up, where do you see the sport going in the future and everything?
I think, so you've got this amazing club, and we've just talked off camera as well about maybe schools and young kids getting involved and stuff, and obviously there's a lot of red tape, as you've mentioned. I would like to see more females in the sport, you know, whether it be the guys bringing the wives or younger kids like my daughter and stuff like that getting into it. I think that would carry the sport quite well, and certainly take it into the future. The bushcraft side of it, you know, the skinning rabbits and all that kind of stuff, I just think that it's a skill almost forgotten to most. If you ask most younger generation now how to set up a campfire or skin a rabbit, they'd have absolutely no clue. I just think it's very important for us guys that do shoot to try and keep that alive as much as possible, to pass down to your kids. I certainly will be with my son and daughters, and I just think if we can get the schools involved somehow, or like you say, the scouts or the cubs, get them involved on days out, and it could be just like a fair day. I mean, you've got the perfect place here for that kind of thing. If we can cut through a bit of red tape and get schools involved and just keep it alive in the younger generation. We as the ones that are older have got to try and do as best to keep that alive, because nobody else is going to do it for us.
No, definitely.
You know, so shooting does get a bad rap, but it's up to us to educate and to put that onto people and let them realise that how fun the sport can actually be. It doesn't have to be seen as just dangerous or a bad thing, because it's not a bad thing. It's a brilliant thing. I've had, in the last 4 years of shooting, I've had some of the best times of my life just sitting in the woods, chilling out, relaxing, and just, you know, whether it be target shooting, reviewing, pest controlling. It's been some of the best times ever. I haven't mentioned it much on camera before today, but I have a son who's autistic. He's 17 years old, and although it's not hard work or anything like that, and he can do a lot for himself, it's probably one of the biggest stresses I've ever had in my life, worrying about after I'm gone. And for me, just shooting in itself is not just always about shooting. Going and sitting in them woods and having some downtime off the massive commitment I have to my son. I have him every day from school after working, and you know, and every other weekend and stuff like that, and worrying about it all the time. That for me is just some of the perfect downtime, just to forget about my worries for a day and just sit and chill out and just shoot my gun and sit in the woods. It's absolutely fantastic. No, it's been a godsend to me as that hobby. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I mean, we've got quite a few people that come down to the club and it says it really helps out with like the mental health. We've got stressful jobs and same sort of things, and just going down, having a plink on the range and
just getting off a bit of steam and talking to different people, having a different conversation.
And we've got quite a good community down here as well, like with all the members, and everyone's a bit different, and we've all, everyone's kind of bonded together, which is the atmosphere that I wanted to create when we joined the club, kind of thing.
And it does. It looks so like you could have a picnic out here, for Christ's sake, couldn't you? You could come down for the day, do some shooting. You've got some benches and loads of fields. I mean, look at today, for example. It's absolutely perfect weather. It's a little bit windy, but you could come down, spend a whole day here with the family, have a picnic and shooting. And if you're going to be doing competitions, did you say?
Yeah, we do competitions, all regular competitions,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just think. And that feeling, like when you get there, and you see me there, like I made that shot, and it's not like I'm thinking I'll definitely make that shot. I've made that shot with a Springer, so it's that big kid inside you comes out, and you're like, yes,
it's that competitive competition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But I've really enjoyed today, and thank you very much, Kev.
Thanks for inviting me, buddy.
Thanks for coming down, mate.
Yeah,
Much appreciated.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.
Take care.